Since human beings give physical form to God and the devil, nurturing either side strengthens it. Parents and society should be mindful of this education. Addressing it during childhood could lead to more balanced adults. Remember, it's the human who acts, whether in a godly or devilish manner. Nurturing must be deliberate. When taught that God and the devil are external entities, humans become subordinate and insignificant, and belonging groups gain control over them. We're taught hidden messages of subservience, obedience, and insignificance, aimed at political control. Your individual actions are either godly or devilish because external influences shape you. People who claim to be God's subcontractors often condemn those who stray from their path. Dissenters are branded as followers of the devil, although both sides commit devilish acts. No war can be considered a spiritual war. All are political, fought over land, nationalism, or religion. Politics have a place in society, and identity politics are crucial, but they have caused human beings to lose their identity and remain trapped in an identity crisis. You're either good or bad, there's no in-between, as human beings tend toward extremism. You're taught that you can't be both or belong to both sides, yet an individual's life can show otherwise. People may do wrong in their youth but grow and change with different education. Questioning these teachings brings clarity and reveals life's purpose. Human identity is being human, not angelic. Avoid living like an angel, as you'll regret it in your mortal life's end and blame others for your failures, but it will be too late. A physical body gives form to God and the devil, enabling individuals to enjoy their brief visit. Taking responsibility for your life is essential. We're not here merely to worship, we bear the responsibilities of our mortal lives as well. Enjoying life's pleasures isn't godly or devilish, it's human. Refusing these pleasures benefits only those preaching sacrifice. Observe how religions lavishly spend on grand buildings as God's houses while fostering extremism to incite conflict. Who are these contractors, and why can't they eradicate poverty, hunger, and disease? Despite these monuments, humanity continues to suffer, contrary to the Quran's teachings that state if your neighbor goes to bed hungry, your food isn't righteous. Political motives have stripped religions of their spirituality, focusing instead on group belonging. If told that indulging and enjoying life is devilish, question this politics of sacrifice and examine the motives of those who benefit. If religions were truly spiritual, poverty, disease, and war would be non-existent. Show me a time of peace in history. We've always fought over our animal instincts or defended ourselves. Consider reality. If you live spiritually, you can't perform physical actions. To give spirituality practical meaning, you must be alive and physically active. Here, the human individual plays a pivotal role, elevating to a third status. To serve God effectively, you must be alive to enact spiritually. Deceased individuals become spirits unable to act physically, so God's work is reliant on the living. Yet some preach that indulgence and life enjoyment are devilish. These same people encourage others to kill, driven by political motives rather than spiritual understanding. As I mentioned before, God's spiritual work is done by living human beings, so ask yourself, are these people really following God's will? Why would God want to kill people if people are the ones making God meaningful? The reality is that God is a spiritual understanding that only emerges when we start to transcend our insecurities and related boundaries. An empty mosque, church, or temple is merely a building created by other human beings, or rather, by living human beings. Beyond religious beliefs, God does not reside in any human-made structure. Understanding resides within living human beings, where God, as a concept, finds meaning in humanity's struggles with poverty, disease, disability, hunger, thirst, old age, and belief systems. It is in the mutual aid of humans helping each other survive that God meaningfully exists. Our mosques, churches, and temples often serve as places where we politically gather to curse and plan how to harm other human beings simply because we disagree on the pathway or road to God. Nothing but mass ego gets in the way of truth. The simple truth of humanity is that individual humans make God meaningful. Yet our politically active religious leaders seem hell-bent on inspiring us to harm each other, all in the name of God. If you ask me, I envision a place where all religions, nations, races, and genders come together to plan how they can assist each other, rather than merely worshipping or competing to appease God. God needs assistance to fulfill divine work, and only living human beings, not the deceased, can aid in this task. It is purely political to bring out the worst in us to serve the sense of belonging. No wonder humanity cannot catch a break from its wars. If we begin to believe that God resides in all of us as a life force, we cannot deny God in certain races, genders, nations, or religious groups. Otherwise, we perpetuate biased beliefs, prejudice, discrimination, conflicts, and wars. If you wonder how God can reside in someone who behaves devilishly, take charge to nurture their godly side. This responsibility falls not only on the individual but also on mothers, society, and humanity as a whole. If God blesses you with an opportunity to live at a higher level, yet you choose to live at a substandard level due to childhood teachings or feelings of insecurity, it is interesting how opinionated and passionate people become about others' lives. In reality, our nature grants us total freedom to choose our way of life, evidenced by our independent bodies, free-thinking brains, and free will. If we do not respect our individuality, thoughts of individual mortality fade away. Disobeying religious rules or customs does not render someone godless. Politically, they may be labeled in various ways, but spiritually, such judgments hold no weight. Scientists may assert there is no God, a belief stemming from their acquired knowledge and limited use of their brains in one area. Nonetheless, their inventions and medical discoveries that save millions of lives serve humanity, a form of service to God. Those who believe in God and those who do not can both serve humanity. Such differences should not fuel divisions. Everyone blessed with a functioning body, free will, and oxygen owes gratitude to God, regardless of their belief system. Remember, every action is a shared action, a dance we perform with God. No one can claim, I did it. Everything we achieve comes after taking a breath, dependent on both internal and external universes functioning in perfect order, over which we have no control. As humans, we must remain humble and act with reverence for our mortality. When we inflict upon others what we would abhor for ourselves or our loved ones, it constitutes a spiritual transgression. Unfortunately, in mass settings, we often fail to see injustices done to individuals. We have been indoctrinated by the politics of group identity. For evolving entities like humans, no perfect system of governance exists. However, systems based on equal human rights are most suitable, fostering spiritual contentment. In societies where individuals can challenge governments in court and prevail, we witness a spiritual governance system, indicating respect for individual life. Respect for each individual is where it all begins and ends. Until we respect individual lives, we cannot see God in others nor achieve inner and outer peace.